Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my first Path of Exile build guide I'm going to be trying to do. This is the current character I am playing. It is an Armegeddon Brander. Her... I can never pronounce what, this is her mountain, whatever. But as you can see, it's the middle one. It's the one that's got the, mind over matter, it's got the brand skills, and it's got the conviction of power. This is also the totem tree setup, so if you want to play totems, this is the ascendancy that you want to get. Let me see if there's actually... Forgive me, I'm a little bit rusty using this program since they've updated so many, but I just kind of want to go over the basic generals, what I've done with it. It is currently a level 85 Templar. Hierophant. That's how you pronounce it. Okay. To start out leveling, I basically went up this damage to mana. I got up to retribution. I did the AOE nodes. I went right up to brand skills. So we got Ruin Binder right off the back, and then we went into Ruinsmith Tree. I then came down into Lights of Divinity along with Holy Dominion. We did not get these nodes right off the back. I went more damage and life. So as Armageddon brand is fire damage, I came up here. I grabbed these life nodes and chaos nodes. We came up to intelligence. We grabbed this fire node and mastery right here. We then proceeded over to energy shield. It is a life energy shield hybrid build right now because this was my league starter. I did not have gear, so pretty much I just kind of threw a concoction together that worked pretty well. This did acts 1 to 3 pretty decent. I ended up having to use Stormbrand a little bit. We were kind of all over the place until we got Armageddon brand, but once we got Armageddon brand, the map clearing potential for each act picked up. The deeps picked up. We got Elemental Overlord. We do not deal critical strike damage, but each critical strike we deal does deal more elemental damage. So this bumped up my brand damage a ton. We came down to brand mastery. We got attachment range, etc. We came up to the ES nodes. We got this. I chose to go for... Ooh, how do I redo that? I believe it was discipline that I had. Reduced efficiency, then we came over to brand mastery, etc. The three main brand mastery skills I was going for was brand recall, additional brands, and then 40% brand attachment range. Those are the sweet spot I pretty much found that were really good. We came up here, we grabbed the fire nodes, I got the charge masteries, power charges, etc. This works really well once you ascend and get this node. I got conviction of power first because this gave me additional mana and additional maximum mana. Then it gave me 4 endurance and 4 power charges. I needed this to become res capped and to get additional damage. So this helps a ton early game. So get this first for your ascendancy. Then I came down to signs of purpose, which were recall and cooldown recovery rate for brand recall and more brand damage. Then we moved into divine guidance, which is just basically mind over matter and then more mana, etc. These will be the 2 last ascendancy nodes we do once I get an Uber Lab Goddess offering, which will really bump up our deeps a lot and our survivability more. For the most part, this is a pretty straightforward fire ignite build. It's kind of jinxed and gimped together right now because, like I said, League Starter Day 2. I just wanted to give you a recap. My gear is not the best, but we got a good one which has some pretty decent fire damage, and then it's got fire damage to spells. We got Corpse's Malice, a Corpse's Call Shield, which is basically 1 to fire spells, and then some insane amount of spell crit, which is good. Just got a generic helmet for ES with increased Armageddon brand damage. 40% damage increase, I did not really notice it a lot. It only bumped my overall damage by like 1,000 in terms of like raw stats. So I'm iffy on using that versus like an activation. We'll play with it a little bit more. Um, Generic 6-link corrupted chest with ES. Nothing fancy, as you can see. Morbus gloves, just straight res, life, ES. Um, we got generic very. This is early game boots still. I've not been able to find a better pair of boots or make a better pair of boots to this, so I kept the 10% movement speed and I got the 30. I added 34 fire res and I just kept the generic life roll on it. Attribute amulet is actually really good. It's got 15 all attributes which you need. We did the 12% cast speed. It's got good life, good lightning res. Physical attack leached as mana doesn't really matter. And this says it all. I'm running a Lehoop ring still. Just generic attributes, damage, rarity, and all res. You need the attributes to make this build work with the current setup I'm using. So this is kind of a little bit of a mandatory item. Ring 2, big thing on this ring is curses enemy with flammability on hit. This is mandatory. You need to get a ring with this. This makes your build go from here to here. Like literally, you need it. The curse's flammability on hit, it takes out your need to have a curse on hit. Arc brand or I think it's Arc brand. It's your lightning brand one. That way, you're automatically cursing everything on hit with flammability. It's so nice. And then as for the belt, it is just the standard baited breath chain belt. Flat ES bonus, intel, increased damage, max ES, and then energy recharge rate since we are running a hybrid. Flasks are just kind of all over the place. They do kind of work. I got the instant heal life flask. You got the enduring mana flask. This is needed until you get that last ascendancy node because my brands currently are running me I believe about 87 mana a cast. So until you get jack up your mana recovery rate a lot, this is needed, and it still does help because it does help with mind over matter for you to get a little more kind of effective HP pool with that. Positions diamond flask and cast speed, and then flash charges on crit is really nice. Even though we're not getting bonus crit damage, we're still regaining flash charges every time our brands crit, so that's really nice. Standard Quicksilver flask, nothing really fancy. Got curses on it. And then we have a phasing flask, which helps too with reduced chill and freezing effects, etc. We are running a single hypnotic cluster, or not cluster jewel, but abyssal jewel. Flat fire damage to spells. We got cold damage to spells while holding a shield. Added lightning damage to spells while holding a shield. And then we have 21 increased critical strike chance if you haven't dealt a critical recently. So basically that just helps on bossing and single deeps kills. As for skills, we are doing Armegeddon brand. I have Spell Echo. I have Combustion. This is an Ignite build, so I have been leaning towards Ignite Prolif. We got fire damage and burning damage. There will be cluster jewels added to this build at some point, so just kind of hang tight. I will get this updated a little bit more. We got Flame Dash, Arcane Surge with faster casting. I have Wintertide brand just for a little defensibility on bosses, linked to Spell Echo, Bone Chill, and Elemental Prolif, just so we can start freezing, shocking, and basically chilling enemies, especially single target enemies. But this works phenomenal on bosses, really slows them down and gives you a little bit of an edge. I'm running Herald of Ash with Discipline. No Enlightened support yet, but there will be Enlightened support. I have an Immortal Call with Cast on Damage and Frostbomb. Frostbomb can only go up to level 10 with level 1 Cast on Damage. Immortal Call with 4 endurance charges up nonstop. It works really well. And Frost Bomb is just for a little bit of survivability because it does drop a nice AoE type slower a slow type movement thing, and it does a little bit of extra cold damage for us. So obviously brand recall, and I am just leveling Awaken added lightning damage. This has nothing to do with the build right now. This will go on a future build. And then I am running a Vitality also, which will also get linked to a Enlighten once we get this setup done down here. As in terms of the damages, and I'm pretty impressed with it. T1 to T7 maps are the sweet spot for this build right now. Very, very viable for T7 maps. T8 to T10 has a little issues with boss DPS, but it is doable. So survivability is the main issue right now. The character is not very, it is tanky, but it's not very tanky. So we're going to be working on that. Let's look at the overall damages now. We have an average hit of 25,240, which is not bad. Cast rate is 5.6, etc. We don't need to worry about hit rate. Critical strike chances probably about 25 to 27% chance, give or take. We don't have crit multi. We're only doing about 3,500 DPS a second, but the ignite DPS is almost 50,000 right now, which is pretty good. Total DPS ignite is 82. Which is a little bit on the lower side, but we're going to be working on this. Like I said, once I get the cluster jewels, once we get more dot multis and everything, it'll be really good. It'll really start scaling up more. Mana's not too bad. We are res capped across the board. I believe we're 76 on fire res, 77 on lightning. Chaos res sucks right now, but we are working on that too. So that will be, I'm working on a movement speed chaos res set of boots for ES that'll really bump the chaos res up a bunch. So this is just a general idea where the Armegeddon brander sits right now. It is pretty decent. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It is a fast type play style, but it is also a little bit on the slower side because unfortunately brands do take like 0.77 seconds or something to actually start ramping. But once they ramp up, holy hell, the ignite prolif and everything will go screen wide. So it is really cool. Give it a try if you guys like it. I'm going to be modifying this build in the coming days a little bit, so we'll see how it works out in the end. I do want to make one side note. I did end up taking these mana nodes down here to reduce mana cost of skills just a little bit. It does help. This shaves off about 10 mana a cost for the brand skills, so it's really good until we can get this node right here, which is 50% less mana cost of skills. Then once we get this, we will suck out these skill points down here and we'll put them someplace else, and we will be taking this large jewel socket and then stripping this node. We will be getting one of these enchanted onto an amulet, and then I'll probably come over here, or we might come, let me see, did they move this node down here? Yeah, they did. So that would be one hell of a truck down here to get this cluster node. So we'll probably get this other cluster node up here, and then we'll do something up here with the remaining 10 to 15 skill points. I do expect this character to get up to level 95 pretty easy, so it's just a matter of once we get more gear and better balance the build, it will be phenomenal. So if you guys like this, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to go check out the Twitch streams. I am live non-stop, and I will see you guys all at the next build guide, and take care.